So this chapter relates to the impact of digital disruptors. So I think what is interesting about the clips you're about to see is the vast range of sectors and industries that this impacts, and it impacts in different ways. And so you'll see Jeremy Silver talking about the impact of digital on the music industry, where he started out. We know, of course, that non-food retail has been hugely impacted by the Amazon phenomenon. But there on the other side of the spectrum, you've got the CIO of Tullow Oil, Andrew Marks, talking about the impact for an oil and gas exploration company. And you say to yourself, you know, surely that's immune from the digital revolution, and you'll see that it isn't. And so all of companies sit in a different space on the spectrum here. The second point, I think, is that you can see that there's it's necessary for investment around infrastructure to support this technology. Andrew talks about the difference between expectations in Western Europe, where the infrastructure is relatively good, and some of the exploration they do in remote parts of the world where the infrastructure is more or less non-existent. And so we see as a law firm that clients, having not spent hugely or invested hugely in technology over the last few years due to the global financial crisis, they're now beginning to invest in infrastructure. And so there's a basic choice to be made here between do I continue to invest in my proprietary or the infrastructure that I have available to me under my existing contracts, or do I look at cloud solutions, or do I set up something entirely different? And we see quite a lot of this with companies wanting to make if you like, a digital leap forward, and so they set up a separate entity, give it a separate budget, and start investing in technology around that. And of course that causes tensions between the existing legacy infrastructure and the new infrastructure. For us as a technology law firm, there's two primary areas. One is M&A and joint venture work. We see companies acquiring innovation in order to move them forward. So that may be expanding their product range. So a good example would be investing around a core banking platform in terms of online applications to support a whole banking process. The other area, again, which Jeremy Silver talks about, is the difficulties, and I think this is obviously there's a commercial difficulty, but also a legal difficulty in how, if you're running a joint venture between a large company and a small technology company or innovation company, how's that going to work, and how are the respective rights and what people want out of that relationship going to work? And I think that's very difficult, and look at Jeremy on that. He's part of a smaller company, no doubt having some challenges in terms of the relationships that he has with some of the larger entities who don't run as quickly as the sort of company that he heads. And in a sort of pure technology sense, this investment in infrastructure is challenging because there is some basic decisions to be made about the sort of contracting solutions that the clients want. Larger companies want security. Some of them are subject to regulation, therefore that mitigates in, if you like, a reasonably long-term contract which covers different eventualities. How do you future-proof that contract? How do you build in innovation? I mean, these have always been challenges for technology lawyers, but I think it's more so now. Or do you go for the standard cloud terms and just take the risk in terms of the terms that are just available from you, for you from the cloud providers? And so developing a contracting environment with lots of choice, but with choice, of course, comes risk. So I hope you enjoy the videos that we've put together.